Welcome to our Ask the Expert video series. I'm Colleen Miller. I'm the director of the Disability Law Center of Virginia. The Disability Law Center of Virginia is the Commonwealth's designated protection and advocacy system. We're here to promote and protect the rights of people with disabilities throughout the Commonwealth. One of the ways that we do that is through education and outreach about disability rights issues. So this is your chance to ask the expert. Let's ask the expert about advance directives.
Hi, I'm Dana Trainum. I'm an attorney here at the Disability Law Center of Virginia. Welcome to Module 3 of our Advance Directive video series. Today we're going to talk about different components of an advance directive and ways that you can make your wishes known. Let's get started.
What types of health care can be covered by an advance directive?
An advance directive can cover physical health care, mental health care, and end-of-life care, including things like organ donation.
How exactly can I make my wishes known?
Generally, you can do it in one of three ways. You can appoint a healthcare agent to make decisions for you. You can write out a detailed list of instructions for your provider to follow, or you can do both. You can write out your instructions and appoint an agent to enforce them.
What is an agent?
Good question. A healthcare agent, or an agent for short, is a person that you designate to make decisions for you. So often when a person's in a hospital and they become incapacitated, the hospital will choose someone to make decisions for them. But it may not be the person that you would want. So by appointing someone in an advance directive, you can choose the person that you want to make decisions for you. It doesn't have to be a family member. It could be a friend, a neighbor, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, someone who knows you and knows what decisions you would make.
I would love for my cousin to be my agent, but she lives in North Carolina. Does she have to live in the same state as me?
No, your agent does not have to live in the same state, but one thing you'd want to take into account is your agent would have to respond quickly in case of an emergency.
My cousin is also a scuba instructor and is underwater for about 7 hours a day. Can I still choose her as my agent?
You certainly can choose her to be your agent, but you need to think about how that might play out in an emergency. If she isn't able to respond in a timely manner, it may delay the care that you need, and you might end up getting care that you don't want if someone's not there to tell the doctors.
So you mentioned a neighbor. I'd really like for my neighbor to be my agent, and I'm really comfortable with her. She's very easy to get a hold of. She's not scuba diving 7 hours a day, but I'm not really sure if she would know what kind of care I would want. So is there a way that I could make her feel comfortable and let her know that I only want certain types of treatment and medications?
Absolutely. So your first step would be to talk to your neighbor about being your agent and what that would mean. And then when you're talking to her, that would be another opportunity to tell her what kind of care you want or don't want. Okay? And this isn't just true in your situation. This is true whenever you're thinking about appointing someone as your agent. You'd want to have a conversation with that person. I mean, in everyday conversation, most of us, it's not a topic of conversation, healthcare preferences. So even our relatives or our spouse may not know what our wishes are.
Okay.
So in addition to having that conversation with your agent, you might also want to think about including written instructions so that the agent will know exactly what care you want and what you don't want.
Okay.
Hi, Dana. It's me again. I've decided to go with my scuba instructor cousin as my agent because she really is the person that I know best and that knows me best. I understand that she may not always be able to respond right away in an emergency because she's underwater so much of the day. I was wondering then if I could appoint a second agent just in case.
You certainly can. You can appoint a secondary agent to respond if your main agent, or what we call primary agent, is unable or unwilling to make a decision for you. So how it would work is in an emergency, your provider would call your primary agent first. And if that person is unavailable or unwilling to make a decision for you, they would then call your secondary agent.
So are there limits in terms of what my agent can do for me?
Yes, we're talking about healthcare advance directive. So your agent wouldn't be able to make financial or other types of legal decisions for you.
Okay.
Now, there are legal documents, such as a financial power of attorney for financial decisions, but that goes beyond our scope of the conversation we're having today.
Okay.
So your agent is also supposed to follow any written instructions that you have, and that puts some limits on it. Now, if you haven't given any written instructions or something happens that goes beyond what you have in writing, your agent is supposed to follow your wishes, your beliefs, and your values. It's another reason why it's a good idea to pick someone who knows you pretty well, because they can't make decisions based on your wishes, beliefs, and values if they don't know what they are. Additionally, you can limit the powers of your agent if you're not comfortable with them making certain types of decisions. So, for instance, you're okay with your agent making decisions about healthcare, medical decisions, but you don't want them to decide who can come and visit you. Okay. So in this form that we're looking at today, you can find a section that outlines the agent's powers. And if there's any power that you're not comfortable with your agent having, you can limit it in any way that makes you comfortable. But remember, keep in mind that even if you don't give your agent the power to consent to that type of treatment, it doesn't mean you won't get the treatment. It just means that your agent won't be making the decision about it.
Do I have to have an agent at all?
No. Like I said earlier, you can have an agent. You can give detailed written instructions, or you can do both. For some people, they just simply don't have anybody in their lives that they would trust to be their agent. So for those people, foregoing having an agent and just providing written instructions would be a good option. Now, that being said, while you are not required to appoint an agent and give written instructions, it's the best way to ensure that your wishes are followed to the best degree possible.
What should I include in my written instructions?
Well, your written instructions can include anything that you think it's important for your providers or your agent to know. Of course, it can be hard to anticipate everything that could happen, right? If you're drafting your own advance directive, we recommend using this form, and it helps you organize your instructions. Many people find it helpful to include things like your provider preferences, trauma triggers, medication preferences and refusals, a list of people you want contacted in case of emergency, things like that.
Do my providers have to follow all of my instructions?
It depends. There are several levels of instructions that can be included in an advance directive. The first is basic information. This isn't really an instruction at all. It just gives your providers information they need to treat you effectively. A good example of this would be if you have any allergies. You should include that in your advance directive. You're not really asking them to do anything with that information, but it may be important for them to have it to treat you effectively. The next level is preferences, which are things that you want your providers to do if at all possible. Doctors should usually abide by your preferences as long as you're not asking for something that's illegal or medically inappropriate. That said, your preferences aren't legally binding. They're more like very strong suggestions. So the last level is instructions and refusals. These are going to be treatments or medications that you absolutely refuse, as well as any instructions that you have about things such as end-of-life care. Let's think of refusals versus preferences this way. You can't make the doctor do something that he doesn't want to do. But you can stop him from trying something that you don't want to try. Okay? Instructions and refusals are always legally binding unless there's a court order in place that says otherwise or there's an emergency situation. One exception to the rule that refusals are legally binding is if you are involuntarily committed, then you can't refuse to be treated at a particular hospital. You can certainly state you prefer to be treated elsewhere, but if there aren't any beds available in your preferred facility, your provider may send you to a hospital you don't want to go to, rather than allowing you to go without care.
So you've given us a lot of information here. I'm just trying to absorb it.
I understand. I know, it can be a very complicated topic. Before you start on your advance directive, take some time to think about what you want to put in your advance directive. It may be helpful to talk to somebody you trust, especially that person that you may want to appoint as your agent. Okay. You can talk to your healthcare provider, you can talk to a private attorney, and you can always call DLCV with questions about your advance directive. And just in case you don't have the number, you can reach us at 1-800-552-3962. Thanks for joining us. In our next module, we'll be discussing how to make your own advance directive and where you can go for assistance. Before viewing the next module, you may find it helpful to review our advance directive form if you haven't already. Here's a link to that form. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.
If you would like to discuss your disability rights issue, please call the Disability Law Center of Virginia. Our intake hours are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8:30 to 4 p.m. You can call us at 1-800-552-3962, or you can email us at info@dlcv.org. Thanks for watching. This video contains general information for educational purposes. This should not be considered legal advice. It is not a comprehensive statement of the law and may not reflect more recent legal developments. If you have specific questions concerning any matter contained in this video, or if you need legal advice, please consult with an attorney.